Markets are closed, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Catch up with us on Business Brief. Asian shares are mixed today as traders focus on the uncertain tariff outlook. Investors are digesting U.S. President Donald Trump's latest trade statements. Japan and South Korea, two major U.S. trading partners in the region, face an August 1 deadline to finalize trade deals or face new tariffs. Trump sends mixed signals on the deadline. Earlier this week, he says the deadline is firm but not 100%, which leads some in the market to think it's a negotiating tactic. However, on Tuesday, he hardens his stance and says no extensions will be granted. A mixed movement dominates the Asian markets, with China's Hang Seng falling the most at 0.8%, while South Korea's Kospi rising the most at 0.6%. In the currency markets, the US dollar appreciates against the Japanese yen, the Singapore dollar, the South Korean won, and the Thai baht. The greenback is flat against the Hong Kong dollar, but the Australian dollar appreciates against the US dollar. In commodities and crypto, gold prices fall by 0.5%. Oil markets are mixed. And in the cryptocurrency space, Bitcoin is flat with a downward bias, while Ethereum is in positive territory. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent expects the Trump administration to earn $300 billion from tariffs by the end of this year. This could indicate an exponential increase in tariff collections in the coming months. During a cabinet meeting at the White House, he said the major collections from Trump's new tariffs only started during the second quarter, and the president implemented a near universal 10% duty on U.S. imports.
We will have taken in about $100 billion in tariff income thus far this year, and that's with the tariffs. The major tariffs not having started till the second quarter, so we could expect that could be well over $300 billion by the end of the year. We don't agree with CBO scoring, but for those who do, the CBO scored tariff income over the next 10 years at $2.8 trillion, which we think is probably low.
Global trade grows by around $300 billion in the first half of the year. That's according to the United Nations, despite the trade tensions sparked by President Trump's sweeping tariffs. The UN attributes the growth to stronger U.S. imports and EU exports. However, the UN Conference on Trade and Development warns that persistent policy uncertainty, geopolitical tensions, and signs of slowing global growth pose risks for trade for the second half of the year. The Securities and Exchange Commission reveals gaming tycoon Charlie Atong-Ang and 4 other investors are behind e-sabong firm Lucky 8 Star Quest Incorporated. Ang serves as the company's vice president, while stockholders include Raymond Pasco, who is also the company's president. Ang owns 49%, while Pasco has 47% of Lucky 8, which operated the cockpit arenas in Manila, Laguna, and Batangas, and is at the center of the missing Sabongeros controversy. Lucky 8 Star's main purpose is to manage, administer, and conduct gaming activities. Atong-Ang has been linked to the disappearance of over 100 Sabongeros or cockfight enthusiasts, and he has denied the accusation. The Migrant Workers Department reiterates its call for ship owners to avoid high-risk areas, particularly the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. DMW Secretary Hans Leo Kakdak said this is the best way to spare Filipino seafarers of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. He also urged ship owners to report the scheduled passage of ships to the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden in the DMW's monitoring system. Kakdak also said Filipino seafarers will no longer be allowed to board MV Magic Seas and MV Eternity Sea after the vessels were attacked by Houthi rebels on Sunday and Monday. 17 Filipinos and 2 other crew members were able to abandon the MV Magic Seas and were rescued by another vessel. MV Eternity Sea, meanwhile, had 21 Filipino crew and 1 Russian. International media reports the 2 crew members were seriously injured in that attack. The DMW shuts down 2 alleged illegal recruitment centers in Imus, Cavite. It says the VMJ Beauty Salon and Spa, as well as the Jeff and Ed's Learning Center, posed as recruitment centers for beauticians in Saudi Arabia, but operated minus the required licenses from government agencies. The closure is in line with the administration's goal to protect the workforce from exploitation and abuse. We're taking a short break. More business stories up next. You're watching Business Brief. You're back on Business Brief. SM Prime targets the affluent market with a bold new residential venture projected to rival elite Metro Manila enclaves. Sujin Kim is in Makati City with the details. Go ahead, Sujin.
Mai SM Prime Holdings has officially broken ground in the premium residential space, announcing the launch of its new housing line, the Signature Series. This is touted as a major strategic shift after decades of focusing primarily on middle-income housing through its flagship developer, SMDC. Right now, the high-end space is currently dominated by just a few players, including Ayala Land, Shang Properties, and Rockwell Land. The company's initial offering under the Signature Series is a horizontal ultra-luxury village to be located in Tazana Heights. Sitting on a 284-hectare land bank with a 25 billion peso initial capital expenditure, each lot will span no less than 750 square meters, positioning the development among the largest in terms of cut size. The launch signals a direct challenge to established communities like Ayala Alabang, but at a significantly lower entry price. Lee Chu Property Consultant CEO David Lee Chu views the launch price around 130,000 pesos per square meter as highly competitive, considering current rates in Ayala Alabang range from 250,000 to 300,000 pesos per square meter. This translates to less than half the cost of comparable ultra-luxury communities, while still promising appreciation of at least 5 to 6% per year. While this is SM Prime's first major step into the premium residential market, it is not entirely new to developing spaces for high-income consumers. The company has built a strong track record in the commercial real estate segment with destinations that cater to the upper tier, including the Podium in Ortigas, S. Maison in Pasay, SM Aura Premier in BGC, Conrad Manila in the Bay Area, and the long-standing Tagaytay Highlands. The company is segmenting the new product line into 3 distinct tiers: 15 million for young professionals and upgraders, 25 million for established households, and 65 million pesos for ultra-high net worth families looking to build legacy estates. Looking ahead, SM Prime has identified over 400 hectares of its land bank nationwide for future Signature Series projects. These include potential vertical developments in urban centers like Makati, as well as expansion in growth areas in Laguna, Cavite, and Tagaytay. With this launch, SM Prime is no longer just a player in mass housing or commercial spaces. It is now officially in the business of building homes for the country's fastest growing wealth segment. And those are latest updates from Makati City. Back to you, Mai.
Thank you for that report, Sujin Kim. The Antiagulation Economic Sabotage Council uncovers smuggled rice worth 38 million pesos at a warehouse in Talisay City, Cebu. That's more than 26,000 sacks of rice. The Court of Tax Appeals granted a seizure order against the goods. The council's chairperson, Frederick Go, who is also the special assistant to the president for investment and economic affairs, says the operation is proof of the government's relentless efforts against smuggling. Meralco Power Gen Corporation, through its affiliate Terra Solar Philippines Incorporated, is on track to complete the first phase of the 200 billion peso Terra Solar project by early 2026. The project, which already has 778 megawatts of solar photovoltaic or PV panels installed, is now 54% complete in its first phase. It's touted as the largest solar PV system in the country. Once fully completed, the project, which spans 5 towns across Nueva Ecija and Bulacan, is expected to generate 3,500 megawatts of solar PV capacity, supported by 4,500 megawatt hours of battery energy storage. Bilyonaryo thanks Philippine Airlines is bringing back direct flights to Saporos starting November 24. The 168-seater Airbus will fly 3 times a week until March 27, targeting overseas Filipino workers, tourists, and winter travelers. PAL says the move aims to boost tourism and reinforces ties with Japan. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security announces there will be no more shoe removals at U.S. airports to slash wait times by half. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says the new rule marks a major step in modernizing air travel as part of a broader push to boost passenger experience and efficiency. The Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, began implementing the policy in 2006 after a bombing attempt with explosives hidden in the bomber's shoes.
The key to our approach is layered security. Passengers will still pass through multiple layers of screening. They'll also go through identity verification, and in fact, TSA has recently experienced some fantastic success with implementing Real ID.
We're taking another short break. More business stories are up next. You're watching Business Week. As talks around online gambling heat up, PAGCOR is taking a more active role to help curb the dangers associated with it. From Keep It Fun, Game Responsibly, the gaming body unveiled a new tagline, "Gambling is addicting, know when to stop." The change comes as several senators called for tighter policies on online gambling. Senator Mig Zubiri earlier revealed the Philippines ranks first in Asia when it comes to gambling. Public perception is hardening around the Senate's role in the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte. A new SWS survey finds 44% of Filipinos think that the Senate is deliberately stalling the trial, while only a quarter believe there's no delay. As to the complaint itself, 42% are against impeachment, while 32% support it. The survey was conducted from June 25 to 29. The House of Representatives transmitted the impeachment articles against VP Sara in February, and before adjourning last month, the Senate decided to remand the case to the lower chamber to supposedly seek clarification. The U.S. State Department investigating what appears to be a cybersecurity threat in global diplomacy. An imposter using AI technology to impersonate Secretary of State Marco Rubio. A diplomatic cable seen by Reuters says the scammer had contacted 3 foreign ministers, a U.S. governor, and a member of the U.S. Congress last month through the Cignal messaging app. The State Department has warned all diplomatic and consular posts about fake accounts and impersonations.
The State Department, of course, is aware of this incident and is currently monitoring and addressing the matter. The department takes seriously its responsibility to safeguard its information and continuously takes steps to improve the department's cybersecurity posture to prevent future incidents. For security reasons, we do not have any further details to provide at this time.
Philippine shares bounced back to the 6,500 level after inching up for the third straight day. The PSEI index ended higher by more than 1% to close at 6,504. Majority of the sectoral indices ended in the green, with services rising the most at more than 2%. Advancers outpaced decliners 110 to 90. Total value turnover reached 7.8 billion pesos. Majority of the day's most active stocks ended in the green, with Digi Plus rising the most at more than 5%. Meanwhile, at the foreign exchange market, the peso is currently trading at 56.59 against the greenback, depreciating from the previous close of 56.35. That's a wrap for today's Business Brief. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business. Only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. See you then.